What are you insecure about?
I think I, I'm an academic and a researcher, and I place a lot of my self-worth on the work that I've produced. Um, yeah, I know all the self-help books tell you not to do that. Um, can't help it. That's just what I've done my entire life. Like I, yeah. So my insecurities therefore then are tied into value of self-worth based on value of the work that I put in. So the insecurity is like the work is worthless, and therefore so am I.
What are you insecure about?
Oh, everything. I wouldn't say I feel terribly secure about anything. I do really struggle sometimes with giving talks. It depends on the situation and audience, but I have really terrible stage fright, and I get a lot of anxiety. My palms sweat and I shake. And so that can be really hard when I'm supposed to be an expert and supposed to be sounding like I know what I'm saying, but I can, my voice can start wiggling and I can sort of sound like maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. So I actually find it hardest when I'm talking to students. If I have a keynote or something, I feel like it's already given that I'm awesome or something. So somehow a keynote is less stressful to me than talking to students, because students are like there to judge and to learn and to ask hard questions,
Yeah.
So that's like very terrifying. I'm very insecure. Whenever I've done like a guest lecture, guest class, that's the hardest. I'm very insecure.
Yeah. What are you insecure about?
I think I'm insecure about my physical fitness, my physical shape. And I am in good shape, but it doesn't come naturally. I think that's also an aspect of my genetics. I don't think I'm naturally fit. I am fit now, but that's because I work for it. And to work for it, I have to will myself to work for it, to work out every day. And I think that, it comes from a place of insecurity, because if I don't work out for a few months, I look in the mirror and I don't like myself. It's not that the changes are dramatic, but I can see, and I don't feel as good about myself. And I have to work out to feel good about myself again. This is different from other things in life that I think are also very important, but just come effortlessly to me, like reading, for example. So I think reading a lot is also important to me, but it just comes naturally. It's easy. I love doing it. Basically, if you just leave me to my own devices, I'll just start reading. That's what I do for fun. So that's important, and it doesn't take any effort, and it doesn't seem to be accompanied by any tension. But this physical fitness business, it is accompanied by tension, and I basically have to force myself to do it.
Right. What are you insecure about?
Insecure. This question. Let's see. That's something. Maybe I am. maybe when I don't know people very well, it's the first time I have tendency to be kind of shy. And especially when I enter into a group that has to, well, whenever I enter into a new group, I always feel a little bit insecure and shy. You know, this is one of the reasons why, for instance, there is a lot of people that like playing games, no, like table games and so on. I don't like them because generally you are in a game and you are with a lot of people that you don't know necessarily, and you are exposed. No, really, you are the worst in the game. What does that mean? I feel super competitive in those conditions because I just feel like it's going to reveal something about me that I don't want all these people that I don't know to.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you insecure about?
What am I insecure about? I was always very shy, and I worked on it. So now I can, I can deal with it. But if there's a situation where I feel I am being misunderstood and things are not going my way, and I'm very powerless, for example, when I deal with immigration, that's something that happens like with lots of visas. They just like, you really need something and you're like faced with a wall of administrative incomprehension. And when things don't work and things are really going to be like wrong for you and you couldn't do nothing. And then I suddenly become super shy again. And I get very like, I can't even find words. And then people even want to help me even less because they see I'm like decomposing. And so I know it's a weakness I have, that in some circumstances I just become completely like useless. And so sometimes I anticipate this is going to happen, and it's like it makes me already scared.
I see.
And it's nearly self-fulfilling. Like if I arrive to someone going to asking for a favor that I expect is not going to happen, then I'm like setting things up for it not to happen.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
So that's the thing that I've been working on, and it's much better than it was 15 years ago. And often people don't believe me when I say I'm super shy, but I am. I just worked on. But there's still like lots of room for improvement.
Yeah. Makes sense. What are you insecure about?
Oh, I'm insecure that I'm going to lose my creative edge. And this is a sign of age. So you're, the traditional statement is that like in mathematics, after 40, you're sort of in decline, right? I think this is not true in, say, a field like history, where it is believed that you're at your best in your 60s. So I think, where do we lie? I don't know. So I think it comes down to depth versus breadth, right? So I think in terms of, you can tie it to certain aspects of your cognitive capabilities, what you can retain in short-term memory and the chain of an argument that you can keep in your head at the same time, et cetera. What people call fluid intelligence. So that is, so I'm probably at a stage of my life where that is in decline, and I'm not, that's just it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about it. But then there is that other part of intelligence which people call crystallized intelligence, which is knowing lots of things. So, and that's essentially going up linearly, right? So you know more things as the older you are. So essentially, what I need to do is to find ways of exploiting my strengths and not to let my weaknesses hurt me.
Yeah. What are you insecure about?
Well, that's a classic, but like my coding abilities, like constantly, I always feel like I'm wondering if I'm still a computer scientist sometimes. But I think that's quite common for professors or more senior people who are doing more advising work. And I don't know that, maybe some people do, but I don't think I ever stopped being worried that that I would stop having good research ideas or something like that. That somehow I would stop being as creative as I was before. I think that's always kind of there, which is annoying. It's somewhat useful because that keeps the pressure going of thinking about what's the next thing you want to do. But that is kind of something that, I mean, when you start, say, your PhD, you feel it big time. You're really concerned about that. But then you start saying, oh no, I can have some ideas. So, but it's sort of, it doesn't get as bad, but it still stays there a little bit. There's like a baseline amount of that feeling. And so I can still live with it, but it's weird that it's never really disappeared.
Yeah. What are you insecure about?
What am I insecure about? Different things, but I think one of the things that is a kind of a recurring theme is just I guess that what I want to say is sort of written communication. And I don't know if it's an insecurity, but it's certainly one that I spend a lot of time just trying to get right. Just like when you write something down, it just seems permanent. And I don't necessarily mean like technical writing, though that also, like, just struggle to get things to, both how I want to say it, but also be mindful of how it's going to be perceived and not compromise too much. And that takes me a lot of time. And the other one, I'm also insecure. I don't know if it's an insecurity, but like very, so aware that I'm leading an organization that, is building AI, and yet I don't have my hands in the code. And I haven't for a number of years now. And I don't know if I call it an insecurity. I feel it as a liability, and it does weigh on me that, the disconnection between, trying to support people who do a type of work when you're not on a regular basis in the practice of that work. That also certainly weighs on me.
Yeah. What are you insecure about?
Probably I would say my memory. So I think I have a pretty good grip of what's going on in the field. And I don't think I'm suffering from dementia. I'm not that old. And I'm not worried about my cognitive system failing yet or soon, but when you're juggling a lot of projects and working with a lot of people, and interacting with a much wider network of things going on. I work on a lot of parts of NLP. Keeping it all in your head is hard, and I don't know how it works, right? Like I don't trust my intuitions about my own mental system. I just kind of know what works, and there's a lot to keep in there. And when I stop and think about it, I start getting very nervous about, like, am I really current on all the things I should be current on? And the answer is probably not. I definitely have blind spots. I think over the years, my students have increasingly heard me saying things like, you should check, I'm not sure, I suspect somebody did this. This sounds a lot like the work being done at this place, but that doesn't mean there aren't 5 other places that might also be doing it. I just don't have time to keep up with everything that is happening in the world. And, I try and do it at a level that will be useful for my projects, but things slip. Like, we'll write a paper and then I'll realize, oh yeah, there was this, or somebody will point out to me, there was this work done 10 years ago by so-and-so whom you know well. And maybe I even saw a talk about it, and, it didn't pop into my mind, and we didn't see it in the literature search. And I think we're all prone to that. And it just gets worse as you accumulate years and time in the field. And I used to be able to pinpoint, like, a student would say, oh, I have this idea, read this paper from this particular conference. I even remember the session it was presented in. These are the 3 authors in order. And now it's like, oh, I think it was from this country. And I think it was somewhere between 2012 and 2017. It's just like the precision is starting to get lost. And I think, this is the cost of broadening your interests,
Yeah.
which I think is something we do as we grow older. But it becomes harder, and I'm not making excuses, right? If I've screwed up, people should point it out, and we'll do the best we can to fix it. But it is a challenge, and I don't think my brain doesn't work the way it worked when I was 25. Things change in there. I don't know why or how. I wish I could stop it. I don't know. Maybe it's better. I'm not really sure, but I worry about it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you insecure about?
Okay, I'm insecure about teaching. I mean, teaching has been such a struggle. I mean, I really want to do it well. And the only way I can be not just stressed about teaching is if I work so hard at it that there's just no more I can do than what I did. And here's the lecture, and I hope it's really good. And sometimes it is. We all got good reviews on the last time we co-taught the vision class. But yeah, that's probably what I'm least secure about. It's just, I find it, you're just so exposed, and it's such a weird situation where I just feel like, especially in a class with a lot of undergraduates, maybe they really don't want to be there, and they're listening to you anyway. And I find that such a hard situation to be myself and to enjoy.
Yeah.
And again, the only way I can get through it is to just give what I feel are just really good lectures, or at least I try to have them be. And that's the only way I can survive.
Yeah. What are you insecure about?
What am I insecure about? I think, as I said, because I received like a very good response from the job applications, particularly the academic jobs. I am a bit insecure about whether I'll be able to live up to the expectations of the people, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm sure you will, but yeah, that's a different conversation. What are you insecure about?
I'm insecure about. So I'm insecure about speaking my decisions while I'm making my decisions. I like to be able to wait till I process everything, get all the data, get all the information, and then say, hey, here's the decision. I find that a lot of people want me to walk them through my thinking process. And my thinking process is data driven, and data changes, and you get different types of data at different times. And so I'm very uncomfortable with that. So yes.
What are you insecure about?
What do I feel insecure about? Well, I feel insecure about my ability to replicate some successes that I've had in the past. So for example, I feel like in 2018 or 2019, there was a string of works, like I was working with Joy, whose master's thesis was this paper called Gender Shades, which I didn't even think we were going to publish a paper out of it. Like, I was just advising her on a master's thesis. It became this huge thing. And then, like, I had this idea about creating, it's a simple idea about, like, associating, data sets with things that are called, like, data sheets, because in electronics we have data sheets. And a similar thing, Meg Mitchell had this idea of models, and I feel like I have gotten a lot of recognition for this work. And I just don't feel like I hope I'm not expected to replicate that kind of, so I just, so my ability to do, I'm not worried about my ability to, like, write papers or something. Like, at this point, I feel, so when I was in grad school, I was really worried because, like, I was working on, like, this one long project, and I wasn't publishing anything, and and all these people around me were just, like, publishing every conference and every whatever. And so I was just like, oh my God, like, am I going to even publish a paper at like any of these places? So like right now, I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about like, oh, okay, like, so am I going to do like impactful research? Also, am I just going to try to publish papers for the sake of publishing papers just to like make sure I'm still on the, those kinds of things, like, yeah, or like, am I going to have a peer pressure to do one thing or another? And is that really the thing that I think is important? So yeah, like this ability to sort of, live up to maybe expectations or something like that is something I feel very insecure about.
Mm-hmm. What are you insecure about?
I don't think I'm really insecure about anything.
Oh, what are you insecure about?
I think, yeah, it's that's again a tricky question. So I would say, whether people will be able to connect and understand what I'm saying, right, in the way I feel. Like if I'm very passionate about something, right, I worry that, is that message getting across, and how do I get that better? I'm especially insecure now, in a way now, because I've been more vocal. Are there others who now maybe, they don't want to explicitly say something, but maybe, right, implicitly there are ways that could be hurtful for me, that because they're not happy with the message, I'm saying more openly about the problems in the community. So yeah, that does give me a bit of insecurity, but I tell myself in the long run, this is the right thing to do. And I also have so many allies and so many supporters and friends. So I should bank on that rather than worry about what this other person is thinking. I mean, are they having good intent? Are they always right, able to kind of see the good in what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So this is something I keep working on.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for doing what you do. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. What you've been doing is amazing too. Like having these kind of more deeper questions outside of a therapy session. I think it's important for the community to, look at this and ask themselves these questions, right? And in a way, the culture is, if you're a professional, you have to kind of have the tough exterior, right? A leader, we are equating leadership with narcissism, and somebody who's so immensely confident that they will never ever stumble and they're always right. I think that's not the definition of leader we should be using.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm really confident these activities will go a long way in changing that mind.
Yeah, I hope so. What are you insecure about?
What am I insecure about? I think trying anything new and uncomfortable is something that I try to do, and it's something that I view it not as a insecurity, but it's a signal. And when you're trying something that's hard, there's a signal that you get, and you have to accept it, and you have to say that this is teaching you something. And so I don't really enjoy being on a recorded interview and having this go out on YouTube. I do feel insecure about that, but I think for me it's an opportunity to see if that's something where I can grow.
Yeah. What are you insecure about?
I feel like I interact with a lot of peers who know a lot more than I do in many areas. So that always makes one insecure, but that's part of learning, is being around people who know things that you don't. So it's a double-edged sword, I guess.
Yeah. What are you insecure about?
Insecure about? Nothing. Oh, so I do feel that kind of in US, when in the US, I think when I look at the news about the gun violence and the nation getting more and more divided, I'm a bit insecure about the kids' future, and also related to climate change. So basically, I'm a bit insecure about the kids' future and the safety in the next generation, how my kids will be in. Mm-hmm. Right. So specifically on gun violence, it's kind of, when I look at the news like that, sometimes I really have this impulse to see, okay, should I move back to Taiwan or move to any other places where there's no such things? Yeah, so that's kind of something that I'm most insecure about, because kind of I couldn't imagine how devastating that would be, to have this kind of things happen to so many different families already.
Yeah.